So welcome to another wargame review from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And today we're taking a look at the expansion for Time of Crisis from GMT Games. The expansion is called Age of Iron and Rust, I believe.
Yep.
And so Time of Crisis, we did a full-blown review of that
A couple of years
back when that first came out. This is a deck-building game.
Yeah.
It might be GMT's only deck builder.
It's a deck building war game.
And that might sound abstract, but it's really, really cool and it works really well. So
it's fun to play. It's got some cool rules.
Yeah.
It can play up to. Can it play up to 5?
I think it's 4.
4.
I think it does 4.
So it's kind of one of those gateway games, or kind of hybrid games where it's hybrid between Euros and war games.
Yeah, this isn't complex or heavy fare by any stretch of the imagination, but it is very fun and very playable.
It's very cool too.
Yes.
Not a lot of cool mechanics.
Yes, it does. So the expansion to this, it comes in a little poly bag, which is why I don't have a box for it or anything like that. But the expansion includes a few different kind of modules and bits and pieces. The main thing that a lot of people are going to buy this expansion for is you get twice as many cards as you had in the base game.
And some really good cards.
And yeah,
like really good cards.
Those influence cards are reason enough to buy the expansion.
Absolutely. If you like Time of Crisis,
game,
it gives you like 10 different new cards.
Yeah,
they're great.
It literally doubles the amount of cards and options you had.
No reason not to get it just for that.
Yes.
If you like the game.
And some of them are just
brutal,
hilarious. And some of them are really interesting, and the things you're like, is that powerful? And then you use it, and you're like, oh, the aggregate over a game. You're like, okay.
Well, Demagogue was one of those. That's a populous card.
Yes,
and where you literally can reduce the influence of a governor.
Yeah, Demagogue
for like free.
Oh, that's the Mobile Vulgus.
Mobile Vulgus,
which that one's savage. You spend
really
a lot of your populist points just to kind of turn over the government. That's very. But the Demagogue is amazing.
It's annoying.
The Demagogue's kind of a take that card.
Yeah.
They play it. Every other player has to reveal one card from their hand. If they reveal a 1 point card, a garbage card, basically, then I get to put a mob in in one of their territories each, right? If they reveal a good card, then they don't get to use it. They put it face down on
your available pile.
deck. So
but still, you lose that card.
You're either cutting someone's hand, cutting a good card out of their hand, or you're hosing them with a mob.
Well, and it was so interesting because you invested in those pretty quickly. I think you bought 2 or 3 of those. So that immediately made me start saying, well, I really got to mill through my deck and get those ones out.
Yes.
And I did a pretty decent job of that. I think you got 3 or 4 mobs down on me. But
yeah, I got a couple mobs, and if you can do that early, then you're worrying about the mobs,
not
rather than
doing
the other stuff. And I'm like, yeah.
I really liked Speculum.
Yes.
I think so it allowed, before a battle started, you got to roll 2d6 and basically preemptively strike your opponent, forcing them to take losses, and those exploding 6s. Several times I got 2 or 3 hits.
You had some good rolls on those.
So that was a great card. What was another really good card?
I really liked the. What did I do with it? It was the.
Sorry.
Oh man, I moved it because I wanted to show it and then I lost it.
Right here, Prince of Senatus.
The Princeps Senatus. Oh my gosh, what a cool card! It's like a 2. Senate action card.
So very affordable that you can get fairly quickly.
And early game, it's any Senate influence from this card not spent during the take action phase can be used to your political gain, which is used to buy
cards. Yeah.
So you can use it if it comes up when you can't really place a governor or buy a new one. You don't waste that
free card.
And then you're like, oh sweet, I got more money to buy with.
Yeah. That
was really nice early game to get my economy going, which I used to buy those Demagogue cards.
Yeah.
And you can get the ball rolling really quickly with some of these expansion cards.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really liked about this is there was a lot of new cards.
New concepts, new ways to use them. Very cool. I really liked some of the twists that brought.
Yes. And now they provide a couple of ways in the rules to use those. One of them is put all the cards out. There's 18 cards to do.
Which is what we did.
Yeah, we chose to do that so that we could see everything Or you can just kind of pick them randomly,
Yep.
or there's like, you can kind of draft a setup of what you want there. So there's options to, you can have 9 cards available, card types, and it could be like a random mix of everything.
Yeah.
Or you can play with all of them just for fun, just to see it all, and that gives you options and tactics and lots of strategy.
Almost too many options.
Yeah, you said
I had to kind of pick. Here's what you want to do, and pick those 2 or 3 types of cards. But it was very hard to not get a pretender every time and do this. And the new card, I think it was called Triumph. What was that? Yeah, that was a new one where you defeated a barbarian army and you get double.
Yeah,
the legacy
you get
points.
double the bonus legacy you're already getting.
That's really nice.
Yes. In the expansion, the other stuff that you get is really there's some optional kind of new emperor rules.
Right.
So
you can have a warrior emperor.
Yeah. Normally, as the emperor, you sit, in the throne in Italia, just doing your emperor-like
eating
things.
grapes.
Yeah. There's 2 other options in this game. You can be what's called a populous emperor, where instead of having Rome as your kind of seat of power, you can choose a different one of the regions that you control. Why would you do that? Well, you get a different bonus. The legacy that you gain from being emperor is double that local region.
All right.
So that can be more than you would normally get in Italia, depending on your kind of geographic
because
situation.
if you only control 3 or 4 areas, you're only going to get 4 points.
Yeah, but
whereas I had a 4 out here, it's going to be 8 points.
Yes, and then that option also means you're immune to the mob card because the people like you because you're not some hoity-toity over in Rome, right?
Yeah.
But you're then also Rome doesn't like you because they're snobbish, and so it's actually easier to have that taken away from you with some Senate stuff.
Right.
Or, like you said, you can be Marcus Aurelius.
Running around
You can be
with
a
a gladius.
military emperor, give you a little military chit, and you get a ton of bonuses charging
Extra
around in the
dice.
battlefield.
Yeah.
And the Praetorian Guard card that I used on you
Is immune.
You're immune to that.
That Praetorian Guard card is
the Praetorian Guard
wicked.
means you can basically usurp a region
it's
using military power instead of
really
normal
nice.
Senate influence. But if you're a military emperor, they're your loyal guards. They're not going to turn on you. So that's 2 other options. And then the other major thing that's in the expansions is the solitaire, the AI bots, right? And it's not just for solitaire play. You can use it to fill out player numbers.
Right.
So if you've got 3 players, stick an AI bot, and you've got 4 now.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We played with us and a bot just to test it out and see how it worked.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, playing these 2-player isn't my favorite way to do it.
No, and we've said this before in our other review. This is really a 4-player game.
Yeah.
I think it really shines at 4 players. It's more fun. It's more interactive. It's tougher. But the bot was nice because it still added a challenge that I thought, in general, I think we agreed mostly with the way it prosecuted things. I think there were a couple times we were like, huh? But
mostly,
overall,
early game, we were like, uh-oh, we're going to lose to a bot again.
Well, it was kicking our butt the first 2 turns. It had like 14 points, and it had taken over 2 or 3 territories.
And then we ganged up on it a little bit.
Well, we put some mobs on it.
And then they got invaded by barbarians.
Which slowed them down.
And it kind of put them back into Stone Age a little bit. But then, late game, the bot really affected the game. We were squabbling over the Imperial throne. You had taken it from me. I took it from you.
Yeah, literally you took it the next turn from me. I had it for like 2 turns.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 2 turns. It was 2.
And then if I'd have kept it, I would have been able to end the game the next turn. And the AI bot, it was programmed to just screw me.
Yeah.
And they got
whoever had the Emperor at that time under those conditions,
we're going
it's going to just ride in there and it's going to take you down.
And that card, the Mobile Vulgus, that is a 50-50 die roll that they were going to play that.
And we rolled.
The other one, they would have played a mob card. Yeah, but they rolled that and they totally hosed my support, and then they were able to go in and take the throne from me effectively.
Yeah.
And
then I was able to kind of swoop in. got 5 or 6 points, took control, and had hit the 60 mark.
So the
and was
AI
Emperor.
isn't going to mimic exactly what another player would do.
No.
But it's a decent stand-in.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. And it's not majorly complex to go through
Right.
once you've done it a few turns.
So the one question I have is, I think all of these are different,
Yes.
right?
In a sense.
Slightly.
So the big difference is that this guy we played with, he has the populace as his preferred thing.
Right.
The other one is the Senate preferred, and the other one's military preferred.
So they're different in that kind of that priority.
In their focus, yeah. So our guy that we played with was doing a ton of popular stuff. Almost every turn, he'd be quelling the mobs, increasing his support.
Yeah.
Whereas the military guy, every turn, he's going to be building his
Attacking.
armies, doing some attacks, and the Senate guy's just going to be throwing out governors left, right, and center.
So that I think that would change the game quite a bit. I mean, obviously that focus would change. I would have liked to have seen another military guy in there because I thought he was fairly militaristic when he needed to be.
Yeah.
But if you had a guy that was mainly focused on military men, the game would have looked a lot different.
Yes.
A lot different.
What I'll do is I'll show you just very briefly what the AI kind of looks like. It's hard to see if you don't play a full game with it.
Right.
With just some of the extra cards. But there's not a... Oh, I'm not going to show you a whole game.
No.
Go watch the
Go
other
watch
review
the other
if you want to see
review.
that.
And I did a written review on this, so
Yeah.
if you want to know about the base game, go ahead and check those out. But this is about really the bod and the expansion.
Yes, I'll show you that, and we'll wrap up with a few final thoughts here. So here's a look at... this is the AI. We'll get there in a second. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at just a few of the cards here from the expansion. So we have, this is Triumph, which after you battle against a barbarian army, you get bonus legacy equal to the number of barbarian counters removed. Now normally you do get legacy per barbarian removed. This effectively doubles that bonus, which is very, very, very nice. So if you have 3 barbarian armies, you fight and attack. If you win, you gain 2 legacy anyway for winning a battle, plus 3 if you kill all of them. If you play this, plus another 3. That's a 8-point battle right there, which is a huge, huge number. This one, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce this, but you play immediately after you become Emperor, and you subtract legacy from the former Emperor equal to your support in Italia. I tried to get this to work, but I never had it in my hand the 2 times I became Emperor, so pretty annoyed, but this is a really nice card.
I tried it too.
The Ambitus, play before attempting to place a governor action, add 1 to the number of votes you gain from rolling the dice. You may play 1 of these events for each point of influence spent for the place governor attempt. So this just makes it easier. You're paying off people to get your governor in power. The Frumentari, you may defer selecting 2 cards during this turn's end phase until the start of your next take actions phase. Only 1 needs to be played at a time. This is hugely powerful for hand manipulation, because the board state will change, and there are times of which I wish I could have had this. I could have won the game with this, but... this is the one, the Mobile Vulgus that we talked about. Select a province. Any number of times during this turn, you may spend populous influence equal to its current support level, plus number of governor's friendly units in the capital to reduce its support level by 1. If it's reduced to 0, you put a neutral governor out. This is insanely powerful. So right here, this guy is at a 1, so I can literally spend 1 of my yellow populace points, of which I have 3 from this card, and we can reduce this to 0. Now, if I'm up at 3, I got to spend 3 to get it down to this. And that's all I have from this. But if I had more, if I got 6 influence, I can do 3, and then 2, and then 1. As soon as it hits 0, we put a neutral governor out. And why that's important is because neutral governor's really easy to boot out and to replace with your own. So we got hit with the AI with that, and it's very, very strong. So it's a huge thing to look out for. And then we have the Demagogue card that we talked about. Everyone shows you a card from their hand. And then it goes back into their available pile. So you're reducing everyone's hand by 1. If it's a good card, they just lose the card. If they show you a 1, not only do they lose the card, but then you get to put a mob on one of their provinces. Just a really fun, very mean card at times. Then we have Force March. You can basically use an army that moved and battled. You can battle with them again, or you can move with them again. So it just gives you more flexibility. And then we have the Princeps Senatus. If you don't use this 2 value during your turn, then you get to buy cards with it on top of what you normally have. That's just a lot of extra money, which is nice if you overstack your hand. Cavalry Charge, which basically means if you have equal number of hits, then you win as the attacker. Normally the defender wins ties, but this changes that. And then we have this Speculum that Grant used on me the entire game, over and over and over again, which is before battle, you basically throw your Speculum, which is kind of a javelin type thing. You roll 2 dice and inflict hits before combat's joined, basically. Just
and I would scream, "Take us, that us."
So those are most of the expansion cards. They're really cool, add a whole bunch of flavor to it. We'll look at the AI here real quick. Basically the AI is this sheet, and then you get a bifold, which has all the instructions on it. And it has a priority chart here, which looks like a lot of text, and that's kind of because it is. And then on the back, you have their military guidelines. And then this is basically lists all of the event cards if and when they use them. There's basically a little chart that they roll on, which we'll get to here in a second. What happens is at the beginning of the AI turn, they kind of roll their crisis dice as they normally would. And then basically what they do is they follow this little mode table, and this tells them what kind of a mode they're going to have. Typically speaking, they'll end up in mode 1 to start with on their first turn. And this tells you that their primary thing they're going to do is a Senate action. So they have these little 3 cylinders down here. And they're going to put that on the first level of the blue track. This is the primary, and this is the secondary track. So that's their primary action, and their secondary action here says populace. So they're going to go on the secondary space. So if you look here, this gives them 3 Senate points, and we'll just kind of move it over to the little 3 track here, and this gives them 2 populace points because it's on the secondary one. And that's effectively what they have to play around with. And if you think about it, your first turn you got 5 cards. They basically got 3 blue ones and 2 yellow ones. That's what you'd have to kind of think of it as. Now what they're going to do is they're going to spend those based on this flowchart. And again, this looks like a lot of text, but really it's not. Because they don't have any military points to spend, so we ignore that. So they go to the governed provinces, and it's just, if the AI has no governor in the available leaders box, recruit a governor. We don't have a governor here, we just have our 2 little emperor tokens, so they're going to recruit a governor. The first governor that they recruit costs 1 point, and because it has a little 1 on the back, it's their first one. So they recruit a governor here, it costs them 1 of their Senate points. And then they're going to try and place their governor. If the AI has at least 1 governor in its available box, attempt to place the governor if you can choose a target province according to the following criteria. And the criteria are, if they got 50 plus points and they're not the emperor, they try to become the emperor. And everything else is choose the easiest one possible. And so that's what they do. They spend their last 2 Senate points to try and put something out. In the early game, it's much easier because you're trying to defeat these neutral governors, so you just need basically 2 successes, and a success is basically a 1 or more on a d6, and a 1 or more on a d6 is an auto success. So they just, on their first turn, they buy a governor and they put a governor out, and that's going to be the case for all of the AIs. That's just the first thing that they do. They try to spread out, and then they start doing their thing. Now they're going to do their populace actions, because they do their primary, their blue ones first, then their yellow is their secondary. So down here in this little populace section, they try to increase support in places which are troubled or at risk. Troubled or at risk up here tells you it's got barbarians in it, or enemy armies, or mobs, things like that. So we don't have any of those because it's early game. And then they're going to try and hold games to quell mobs. Well, we don't have any mobs out. So then they're going to try and increase support in governed province with the lowest support. Well, good news is we have 2 populace points, and in the early game, we spent those Senate points to place our governor here in Pannonia, for example, and it's on a 1 space. So to increase it to 2, we need 2 populace points. Lo and behold, that's how many we have. So we spend those. And frankly, that's it. They've got no more influence points to spend. That's the end of their action phase. They do a support check. They do a legacy check, which gets them points for regions and improvements and things like that. And then comes the other interesting part. So then they count up all their kind of political points. And at the beginning of the game, with the improvements they've done, they have 4 political points. And what they do with that is that they first, and the rules in the AI are very interesting. The first thing they will always improve is their Senate influence. And they do that because this is really, really powerful. You have to be able to get your governors out to expand. After that, they'll always increase their preferred one if possible. So remember, we had 4 points, so we spend 2 to increase this, and then we got 2 to increase this. And that's what this little track of circles at the top is. Now the next turn, we're going to increase this one because it's a 0. We always increase the one that is a nothing. Now they've all been increased, what we're going to start doing is we're going to start bumping up our preferred one a bit more, then these ones are going to play catch up. And that's where the kind of the personality, so to speak, of the AI is going to come in. So this is a populace-based one. The populace is its preferred thing. More often than not, it's going to trigger its populace. 1, 2, 3, 4. On all 4 of the modes, it's going to do populace. Now, the military one is going to do military on all 4 of these. And the other ones are, it's a 50-50 split. So it's a really neat cycle, and these kind of grow quite naturally and organically. And the reality is this is not a complex chart because the game itself is not complex. This is some military stuff. Choose how and where to attack, basically. But that's really the AI. It's nothing crazy. It's not a billion flow charts with a billion charts on it. You just grow, and then the next turn it's how many red points does it have? How many yellow points does it have? Spend those points just following the chart. So in end effect, it does some decent stuff. It can give you a challenge at times. More or not, it's just going to throw spanners in your works rather than try to compete to win the game from you. But, you can come up with some pretty surprising situations. So what we'll do, we'll just wrap up with a few final thoughts here. So that was a look, just kind of a bit about the AI system. It's neat. The flow chart was okay. Once I got it.
Right.
The most trouble that I had was determining if and when it attacked, and that's because just some of the language was not necessarily the most precise. But once we did it, I was like, okay, this is what it's trying to do. It's really not bad at all. But yeah, it was some of the bots we play with is more hassle than it's worth.
Yeah.
And I did not feel that this way.
No, I think this was more easily understood, and I thought it was quicker. By the end, you made the comment, we were kind of cranking through its turn.
Yes.
It was not taking as long, and I think we understood it. The other thing I wanted to, can you explain really briefly why you liked this other than some of the other bots that we've done? Just kind of say why you liked it, because you're the one that runs this all the time.
Yeah, so
I'm just not the technical guy.
I
Sorry.
liked it because you have fewer choices, which I know sounds terrible.
But it makes it clearer,
Yeah.
and a little less ambiguous sometimes.
Yeah, the game is simpler, right? So
Not
by
as deep as, say,
definition,
Fire in the Lake.
Yeah, the bots in Fire in the Lake have so much to try and control.
Well, we're in the middle of that game, too, which
Yeah.
sometimes it melts your mind. And we actually played 2 rounds, and I think it took 4 hours because we're trying to learn those bots.
And sometimes the bot takes longer than my turn.
Right, absolutely.
And it's just like...
You feel like you're almost playing the bot rather than your own turn.
Yes.
But this is not that way.
No. And it's neat because they don't have a hand of cards. All of that's abstracted with just a few numbers. And then the priorities that they have, it's like, are they Emperor, yes or no? Then they'll do this.
Yeah.
It's really simple.
Do they have areas that are in trouble? That
Yes.
was like one of the
Yes or
questions.
no.
Do they have mobs? Do they have barbarians?
And a
Very
faction's
simple.
never going to have more than 3 or 4, 5 at the most regions. So it's really easy to see, are they in trouble or are they at risk?
Yeah.
It's very easy to see because the game isn't complex. The bot doesn't have to be complex. And it's actually a really cool system how they grew up those kind of the tracks.
Yeah.
Instead of how we're buying all of our cards and
they're just moving up on their tracks. Yeah.
And the way that it gives them the events and things,
which
neat.
I thought that was kind of a cool thing. While sometimes it really hurt us.
Yeah.
That they had a little superscript number that said, was it roll a die and determine which event they're going to play?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. I remember sitting there kind of chewing my fingernails going, oh my gosh, is he going to do that demagogue or is he going to, and we'd roll a die and it wasn't that bad. But that was still cool to have that extra ability, like he had bought some of the more powerful cards, but amalgamated into a kind of a very easy to understand system.
But yeah, that's really it. It's not a huge expansion. Comes in a poly bag.
The cards are the best part. We already said that earlier.
Cards are well worth it.
Having very cool new tactics and abilities. You could play this game 4 or 5 times before you really kind of flesh out some of those strategies.
Yeah, some of the real strategies. Like there are other deck builders where I'm like, I want that.
Yeah.
And I know if I can get this
churn it,
going,
get that engine going. Yeah.
This is a bit more up in the air because because also the base mechanics, right?
Yeah.
You're not drawing blindly from your deck. You're picking your hands.
Which is cool.
A lot of strategy in
but then you end up having a bunch of crap cards at the end where you've got to play those to get to your next.
Yes.
So I like that, but the cards are really great. I thought the new Emperor rules were cool.
They're neat. I don't know
that they make the game.
But
I'd like to try the Emperor. I kind of avoided that because I'm like,
it's risky.
It's very
The other
risky.
ones are risky because they're like, here's a really good advantage, but it does have a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And
you can be killed.
Yeah, it's risky stuff.
Yeah. But overall, we've enjoyed this game. I'd still love to play this with 4 guys.
Yeah, we'll take this to one of our conventions.
That would be a good one. Maybe Buckeye Games Fest, right? Maybe.
Yes, if we can make that, we'll do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, this is a good expansion to a good game. Right?
What did you not like about it?
Nothing.
About the expansion, not Time of Crisis.
I don't know if there was the new Emperor things. I'm too much of a wuss to use those. It's much safer being the Emperor in Rome.
Sure.
So I'm like, oh man, those sound so cool, but I'm too scared.
I don't know that there's anything about this expansion that I didn't like.
The
new cards are great.
Yeah, it's more cards. What's not to like?
The cool little rules. If you don't want to play them, there's no skin off your back if you don't play with them.
Yeah, the AI is good
usable,
enough, and if you want to play this, solo or with bots,
can do that.
It's excellent.
Yeah, I would agree that I don't know that there's anything about this expansion that I didn't
Yeah,
like.
if you like the game and you play it a lot,
it's just more.
You should own this. That's
I agree.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's it. So that's it's Age of Iron and Rust. It's the expansion for Time of Crisis. Lots of very long title
from GMT Games.
GMT Games. It's really fun. It's still available. Pick this up if you want to.
And I did a written interview on this with the designers Ray Farrell and Brad Johnson last summer. So almost a year ago.
Yes.
So if you want to check that out to get a better feel for it, you'll understand better because he went through some of these cards, and I think you'll get a better understanding for it.
And if you don't have this game, now's the time to get it. Because it comes in a 3-inch box now.
Yeah, so you can fit the expansion and everything in there.
You can barely fit the base game in the 2-inch box.
You lay the cards down and put your counter tray on top, and it's just... That's the one complaint I always have about, like, Fields of Fire. Why in the world did they not give a big box for that one? But anyway.
The base game comes in a 3-inch box now. With the expansion, you can keep it all together in one box. So
mine looks great.
That is nice.
Yeah, it is. Very nice.
That's Age of Iron and Rust, expansion for Time of Crisis from GMT Games. We've been theplayers8.com.